On this, the 21st day of May, Tuesday, welcome to Mornings in Meridian, the two best hours of local live talk radio right here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Thank you so much for joining us. 102.1 FM, WALTmeridian.com. Don't forget X, don't forget Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And that wonderful app, you can just simply download, WALT. Roger B. here along with my main man from Meehan. Say hi to Rob Atkinson.
Good morning, sir.
How are ya?
Doing wonderful.
Drive in all good? See, you're just going into Trump already. Doing wonderful?
I don't know, it's just natural now.
You just can't stand it.
It's just natural now.
Everything's wonderful.
No, I'm having to take the other direction around the Savoy part because they're still working on our railroad crossing over there.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right. So, they're working. They've been working on the railroad.
That's right.
Over there,
but made it in safe. So
make sure that express rail keeps going to Dallas.
Yep. And we'll work on the red light after that.
Don't want another chunky train wreck.
No.
I don't know. I forget when there was one many years ago, before our fathers were born. But it was bad. Anyway, it's good. But before this show becomes a complete train wreck, let's introduce our third co-host, and we want to say a big welcome to. Here he is, the man who knows more than you'll ever find out. That's Charles Frazier.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
How you doing, sir?
That's true. Doing well. How about you?
I'm good. Don't you worry about it. I just want you to know.
We do worry, just for the
want to
record.
thank you for the donated flags for welcoming those that were on the Run for the Wall.
Yeah.
And so that was I waved it proudly for you out there.
Any mishaps with the flag?
Yeah, I had to go back and retrieve it off of my motorcycle. It kind of fell off, but I got it. Got it back.
Okay.
Got it back.
Okay. Risking life and limb.
I'll bring it
for
in.
the flag.
I did do that. I risked my life for that flag.
Okay.
Crossing highway traffic to get it. Mm-hmm. Retrieve it. That is.
Okay.
And reminding myself, don't be stupid.
I have to remind myself that every day.
Secure your load.
Sound advice.
First thing in hauling anything, secure the load, right?
Well, as a mover, one would think.
There's that idea around here. If I just put it in the back of the pickup truck, it'll be there. But that's the people who leave sofas and all kinds of things laying along the highway. Well, I guess it's a nice couch, but I guess the cushions all blew out. Anyway, you've seen those kinds.
I see them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I tucked the flag, and I was on the motorcycle, so I kind of rolled it and tucked it in there, and I thought it was secure.
The roll and tuck.
The roll and tuck, but
Tuck and roll.
Once I picked up a little speed, it went out. Okay, now
How fast were you going? We do have the sheriff in town, but
we do have the sheriff in the
house.
house this morning. Let's welcome to the microphone. Here he is, Chief Law Enforcement Officer, Lauderdale County, Mississippi. Say hi to Ward Calhoun.
Good morning, gentlemen, and to the radio audience.
Welcome.
And I guess the audience, we shouldn't just say.
Yeah, well, we're so beyond that now. It's just crazy how things happen. The audience. And you, sir, it's been a month since we visited, but I see that you are in good health and everything's going well.
Everything's going lovely.
Lovely. And you're not going to hear that very often from Chief Law Enforcement Officer of any county, regardless of where it is.
Well, somebody said something the other day. I said absolutely wonderful, and they said, "Why do you say things like that?" I said, "Well, we all kind of get to choose. We get to choose the attitude we want to have. I try to stay positive.
I like that. There was an old song that we used to sing in Bible class. Brighten the corner where you are.
There you go.
So why not? Just brighten that corner, right?
It can get dim sometimes, and
I bet in your business it can get real dim.
It has its moments, but
Yeah.
we just do what we do and move on.
Well, we want to talk a little bit about what you do this morning, so we'll do that as we get underway here this morning. But we want to invite the audience to also know that this is the Tuesday that the sheriff is in the house. And if you have any questions, he doesn't mind. He'll answer questions. It may not be the answer you want to hear, but he will answer your questions. And you can call us at this number, 601-485-9191. 601-485-9191. Put you right here on the show with us. So with that in mind, let's just take a moment to thank the people that keep this show going. And I'm thinking about the folks. Well, tell us who our first sponsor is there, Charles.
Well, it's two of them, and they're both named Doug.
Doug Martin.
And Doug Martin.
And Doug Martin.
Well, one senior, one junior. That's right. Martin Roofing, been doing roofing right for over 30 years. Locally owned and operated, licensed in the state of Mississippi. They take pride in standing behind their work from start through cleanup, and I mean cleanup. It's like they were never there, except for you've got a brand new roof and it don't leak. Call them today for a free, I said free, estimate, and they'll come inspect your roof for damage too. 601-485-5920. That's easy to remember, just like the interstates that run through town where Roger lost the flag. But then retrieved it, I might add. So,
and my wife, I didn't tell
probably
her.
illegal, by the way.
Is
but
that littering? Is that littering?
I was going to ask that.
I don't. If you clean it up, I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, didn't cause any accidents. Neither does Martin Roofing, because they're wonderful folks. And you know what's great about them is, true story, they did my in-laws, well, my daughter-in-law's in-laws. How does that make them? The outlaws? I don't know. Maybe we're the outlaws. Either way, they did their roof, did a fantastic job on it, and even did the roof on the doghouse. Just a little lanyap for you.
I mean,
that's a commitment, though.
Yeah,
you know what I
it
mean?
is.
Big time.
So just great folks over there. Call Martin Roofing, best in town. You see their signs all over. They're not running for office. Certainly not for sheriff, but they're just running to fix your roof. 601-485-5920 gets you in touch with Doug Martin Jr. or Doug Martin Sr.
All right.
You're trying to figure that out over there.
The flag is now falling off the mic.
Trying to get my
Okay.
flag.
You trying to be cool like this one over here? Is that what it is?
I get my flag.
There
up
we
He's
go.
been trying to be cool for years.
And failing for
Well,
63 of those.
That's why I keep trying. But
Failing
anyway.
all 63 of those.
Right.
All right, mornings in Meridian. We've got a caller on the line. Sheriff's in the house. Let's go to the phones. Let's get the party started. Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. This is Rodney Moon, and I campaigned for Ward Calhoun. In fact, I got out there on that Scotty Ray deal and throwed in my 2 bits and said he was the only one qualified for sheriff. But my question is, I've noticed on where they have the little driver's license checks on the road, every now and then you'll come up on one. They normally won't ask to see your proof of insurance. And I imagine I was told, I asked about it once before, and they said, well, we'll only ask for that if we find a violation. So what I'm saying is I'd love to see them ask for my proof of insurance, because there's a bunch of folks out there running around without it. So
I know what you mean, Rodney, because when they see my vehicle, they don't even ask when they see my vehicle. They know I'm not insuring that piece of whatever.
Oh, God.
yeah. But, I mean, that's just, I imagine probably it wouldn't be very popular to ask for proof of insurance, but there's a bunch of folks out there that would probably, if they run into my vehicle, I'd have to use my insurance, you know what I mean?
So you'd like to see them ask for proof of insurance?
I would, yes, sir.
All right, Sheriff, your reply.
The statute that authorizes that, it is a secondary charge, is a way of thinking of it. So typically, what happens, especially at a roadside safety checkpoint, is if there is another violation, we typically will have the driver pull ahead and pull to the right off the side of the road. And then as we deal with him at that point about whatever, say it's an expired tag or whatever it is, then we would ask for the insurance at that point in time. And if they didn't have it, we would write a citation for it. I don't have those numbers, but we write a lot of no insurance tickets. When I say a lot, I'm 600-700 a year, 800 a year. We write a pretty good number.
Jeez.
Well, sir, I'm glad you're in that position. You're doing a good job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, do they ask when they pull over? Do I remember that they do ask for the registration of the vehicle?
We don't in Mississippi. It's not a requirement that it be in the car.
I'm glad, because to go through that glove box and find that at the last minute, that is a challenge. And
it is. As a matter of fact,
I'm doing good to get my license out of my wallet.
Other states do. Of course, if you're from Mississippi, you're traveling through, you may have to kind of explain that. But our registration is on our tags, and so we get everything off of the tag or the VIN, depending on.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But you got the tag number should match
But
the
if you
vehicle.
come up to a stop and it's an expired tag, that's when you go through another box you check on the
Right, because
insurance.
then the insurance would be a checked in
Sure.
because we now have a violation.
Right. That's a lot of tickets, though, in a year. 700-800, something like that.
Oh yeah,
What would you say the number of drivers without insurance? 1 in 4? 1 in...
Ooh, it's more than that.
Really?
In Mississippi, who had to go back to my insurance days, which now we're talking, that's been a long time ago, 20.
You used to be a good neighbor?
No. Shelter insurance.
Never good neighbor.
But back then, the number was, gosh, like 45%. It was kind of projected 45%.
Nearly half?
Yeah.
Uninsured?
That's why you've got to make sure you have uninsured motorist property damage and liability on your car, because even one's running around out there, you take that chance.
Wow.
It
I
is
was being generous with 1 in, I think, conservative.
Paying
1 in
a
4.
lot of money for insurance. I'm thinking of reconsidering that now.
Here's the problem in Mississippi, and we've progressed, and we made it where you had to have proof of the insurance. Actually, the violation. Okay, the violation is not having the insurance. It's not that. It's not having proof of the insurance.
Gotcha.
Which is the card, or in today's world, they changed the law where it can be on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a picture. It has to be like from an app.
Sure.
Yeah, because a lot of them have it digitally now on an app.
Right, digitally.
Yeah.
Can't you check through your tag? Can't you check through your tag now?
That's the progression. Yeah, we've made is now that is about the last, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so. It's we've run a tag. It'll have either unconfirmed insurance or it'll have confirmed. See, here's part of the problem. A lot of people say, well, when you go to get your tag, you ought to have to prove insurance. A lot of states do that. The problem in Mississippi is you can get insurance and then you go cancel it 2 weeks later. And so it's done.
Yeah.
It's done no good, or at least the system can be gamed that way.
Yeah.
So currently, people are cited if fair in a motor vehicle crash too as well. You also would ask for it.
Whew. All right. We've got another caller on the line here at Mornings in Meridian. That number, by the way, is 601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
Good morning to everyone. I'm not sure who's all on today, but I did check Ward,
Roger, Wob, Charles, and Ward.
Oh, well, good morning to all. I do have a question for Ward, and his answer may have a follow-up question, and this may not be in his department. So here's the question. Is it normal to get a traffic ticket and not go to court for 6 months afterwards?
Normally what happens is when an individual has written a citation, there is an appearance date that is printed on the ticket. Well, it's printed these days or written if you don't have a computer in your car. And that date is the date that you have to come before the court and enter a guilty or not guilty. Or you can, before that date, contact the court once the ticket gets into the system. And the electronic tickets today, it usually takes 7 to 10 days. So if you get a citation on Monday and you call them on Tuesday, they're not going to know about it. So you'd have to wait really about a week and a half. And you can do it by phone. You can call. You can go by, and you could say, "I want a court date." Okay, then you're going to get put on a court docket. If you don't do anything by that original date, then they're going to put it on a docket. I think I'm telling this right. Of course, we're in the court world, not what I do every day. But bottom line, you need to do something because you're going to get what's called a 10-day letter. If somebody doesn't do something, it's going to say, hey, if you don't contact us another 10 days, your license is going to end up being suspended. And they're going to mail that to the address on your driver's in the state of Mississippi. That is where you live. So if you move, you need to make sure you go and have your driver's license address changed and updated, because that's where they're going to mail the letter to. And then, because we have this happen all the time, people get stopped and you check the driver's license and it's suspended. They go, what did I, then what did you, well, a buddy of mine said he was going to take care of that or this, that, or that, doesn't matter. You're responsible for your own driver's license. So no, to answer your question, it normally would not be that kind of time frame unless you requested a court date and they put it on a docket, and I wouldn't think it would be that far out. Usually it's a couple of months, but
Yeah.
All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was odd to be 6 months away from the time the ticket was written, and I was wondering why that would be. That just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, if a person gets and I'll tell you this, it could be that far out for a couple reasons. Well, for this reason, let me put it this way. You have that court date could be because it's when they have an availability. And if you have an attorney involved, a lot of times the attorney has to figure out their court schedule. And the officer could have dates out there that he's already put in for the court. He's going to training or he's on vacation. And so normally it's not that far out though. But now DUIs, sometimes they'll go a lot longer than that because let's say.
This would be like reckless driving in a juvenile.
Yeah.
If it's in justice court, that would be abnormal.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be that would be abnormal for it to be that far out.
All right.
So is there a reason for that to be that far out if that's abnormal?
It could be that they looked at if the person had a ticket. Had an attorney. They may have looked at the schedule, and the first time they could get the officer there and get the attorney there, it could be that far out. There's that potential. It would be unusual, but it could happen.
Okay. I just thought that was odd, and I wanted to find out. I appreciate you so much, and I did vote for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's what I would say at this point. That's exactly right.
I'm going to court.
Good question. Thank you for the call. 601-485-9191 puts you right here with us. So just it's who can understand court dates really?
Well, and I'm glad you explained that the way that about a citation, because a lot of people assume, well, I got the citation on one day, I can just call up there the next day and it's going to be available. But there's a process that rolls through all the time.
I always tell folks to give it 2 weeks and then
at least.
and then call and you can work with there. You can also pay. I should have mentioned also pay citations online. Mm-hmm. The object. Let me back up a second, because I've caught this rap all these years. Just want to write tickets. No, it'd be great if we didn't have to write any.
Yeah.
The reason a citation
You're just trying to get your quota.
Well, right, is because somebody didn't do something they were supposed to do. So it would be great if we didn't have to write another DUI. If we knew that people were out there not driving impaired, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. That is the goal. But reality is there's some people who don't care enough about themselves or anybody else. They're going to do what they want to do. The true sign of selfishness is I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I don't really care about society at large. I'm taking care of what I want. And so if we didn't have to write a ticket, it'd be great. But that is part of what we do.
That sounds so narcissistic.
Well, it is.
The word for today is narcissistic.
Yeah. For some people, that's the word every day. Unfortunately. But I'm glad you brought up citations, though. The holiday weekend coming up. I know you guys are. I know you guys are going to be busy.
One of those segues.
Yeah, segues.
Click it or ticket. Click it or ticket has started, and we'll have additional deputies out looking around for those folks who choose to not follow the state statute about seatbelts. So,
Roger, you know anything about that?
I am so blessed. I am very thankful that the automobile I drive now has such a loud seatbelt warning audible noise that doesn't stop it before. I'm a clicker.
No more tickets.
No more ticket because I click it.
Okay.
601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning, man. Hey, there's a remedy for that insurance.
Oh, hold it tight. Whoa. I don't know. We're having a hard time understanding you. I don't know if you're too close to the phone, or if you're on earbuds or speakerphone or what, but try to do something different and then talk.
I live in the woods, man.
In the woods, man.
You doing better?
Keep going.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think we can do that, yeah.
Okay. I said there's a remedy for that insurance problem. I was in Montana a couple of years.
Yeah.
You went to get the tag, you had to have proof of insurance.
In other words, you had to have proof of insurance to get your tag, but like the sheriff said, though, that you could cancel it two weeks later.
Well, I guess there's always a loophole.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, our legislature at times is looking at different ways of doing that, and I personally think it'd be great if you got to have it while you're driving. What's the difference between having to show your card at the window when you're getting your tag? I don't. It would lengthen that process. And then, of course, you'd also have to think about more and more of our tags today. People are doing things online, so you'd have to figure that. There's a way to do that, though, obviously. But it wouldn't be a bad thing to make that a part of it as well. People just be responsible and take care of your business. That would help a lot of our issues too.
Yeah, be responsible and take care of your business.
So let me ask you a question.
Like Daddy taught us to do. All right, very good. All right, caller, thank you so much. We're going to have to let you go. All right. Yeah, a little interference on that there phone.
So if you are pulled over with no insurance and you're cited for that, if you then get insurance, can that ticket, what happens to that ticket?
The fine, by statute, the fine is reduced significantly. The goal is to have people get the insurance. It's not to write the citation.
Okay.
Because now I hadn't looked at the fines in a long time, but at one time, and I think this is still true, the maximum fine on that's like $1,000.
Wow.
But if you get the insurance before court, it's significantly less, like $100, $200, something like that. So there's still, a little bit, hey, you did wrong, but fix it and we will work with you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that. That's the object is to obey the law and do your
Here's your
responsible
stern
part.
warning. If you don't do it, then bottom line, you're going to pay that big, hefty fine there. Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
To the phones we go. Good morning, caller. You have a question for Sheriff Calhoun.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, I do. Well, I have a comment first. The fallacy of one of the fallacies of the insurance, the car has to be insured, but the driver does not have to be insured. And I had an experience like that when the driver had so many wrecks that the insurance company had written this particular individual off and would not pay anything if he was driving a car. And I got stuck with that one. So when he hit my vehicle, the car was insured, but the man driver was not, so they wouldn't pay a dime on the damage done to my vehicle.
Yeah, putting on my old insurance hat, at times, of course, people say, all right, and of course, I know somebody who's listening this morning who's going to fix it. I'll hear this later today. I'm not taking up for the insurance companies, but there's a contract that insurance companies have with people. And if you don't read the fine print, you don't know what it covers, then don't be surprised when they don't pay something.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying insurance companies are, 100% of the time right. I'm just saying that that's pretty much how it works. And there are times when people will do things like they'll have someone in their home who they don't list as a driver. And the insurance company, then there's a crash and they find out that you didn't have this person listed as a driver, and they live in your home when you were supposed to, and then they deny coverage. That's kind of how those kind of things. I don't know if that's the case with what we're hearing here, but those are the kinds of things at times that happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, insurance company is hard to deal with. I had in a car insured one time with an uninsured motorist in the whole 9 yards, and my car was hit and destroyed. I had to sue my own insurance company to get a dime out of them for uninsured motorists.
Wow.
That's having a good agent is always looking out for you is always the best thing. Of course, a lot of people buy insurance these days, offline. They don't talk to online, and they don't talk to anybody. They don't have a connection.
Yeah. Yeah, Benny, don't buy your insurance policy from that guy that's there behind Dirt Cheap there. That's
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't get your insurance policy there. It's not going to.
Not a good one.
No, not very good.
Yes,
Cheap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he works out of his van.
Tony.
By the river.
Tony, I got a guy named Tony down the river.
See Tony behind Dirt Cheap. Okay.
I got one question for you.
All right, go ahead.
Is it ever proper to take a person that has nothing but a simple traffic violation? Why would you handcuff them, arrest them, impound the car, and take them to jail for a simple traffic violation?
Okay. When a person is cited, typically if they have just a ticket, let's just say a stop sign, we wouldn't do that. The things that we would take someone to jail for would be things like driving with no driver's license, DUI, reckless driving, something more. But it is the officer's. He has the ability to make that determination, but typically we don't do that. Now the car itself, at our department, our policy is to ask the driver, what do you want to do with your car? And if they want to leave it on the side of the road, lock it, that's what we do. If they say call a wrecker and they have a preference, we call the one they say. If they say I wrecker, but I don't know who to call, then we call whoever's next on our rotation to come get the car. Most people, the vast majority, 99% of them say, leave it sitting right there. I'll come back and get it later.
All right.
It's not really all that big a deal out of normal for an officer to arrest a person and take them down and jail them and impound the car for a simple traffic violation.
Yeah, I mean, it's they'll even do that. They'll even do that to the number one golfer in the entire world.
Well, I didn't know you had gotten arrested for playing.
You set yourself up for that one.
All right, you're so quick, Mayor. I tell you what, Mayor of Sucalina, Mr. Benny, checking in this morning.
Thank you. That's enough of it, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Oh, yes. I'm sure you probably did watch the Scotty Scheffler event last Friday.
Well, I didn't see it. I've read about it.
Yeah. What would you have done?
There's a lot more to that story, I think.
Is that? Okay.
I think there's something. When I've read it, I'm going, something doesn't sound right here. But
of course, he's got his arraignment today. So.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah. That's exactly right.
So but the cop was like grabbing a hold of the vehicle and it kept going, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's what was said.
That's what was said.
And of course,
but he was injured in that process.
Well, that's what was said.
Well, and one thing I thought was interesting is the officer in question here that was involved in this didn't have his body cam on. I mean, that happens from time to time as well.
My biggest question is: was the officer injured before or after he knew that Scotty Scheffler was a driver?
Right.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
That's what I want to know.
Ow, my elbow.
Mornings in Meridian. Let's take another phone call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Ward, thank you for being available. That's very important to me. But the insurance issue, could the legislature pass a law that would require an insured to be covered for a full year with a non-refundable premium?
That's a great question, sir. I guess in theory they could. Would they? Probably not. I think the insurance companies would not be in favor of that because there are times when they're the ones canceling the policy, for various and sundry reasons.
Well, you have the change of vehicles during the year. Like if you sold a vehicle, then there's that transition too. That would, unless somehow you'd say it would transfer to the next vehicle.
Well, I'm just thinking of locking these people in because I'm aware of what you had said about, showing you insurance and then canceling it when the minute you leave the tax collector's office, So, but one other thing that bothers me is covered tags and tinted windows. I mean, it's a constant situation that I see, and I know we have laws in place to govern those things, don't we?
We do. As a matter of fact, of course, sheriff's deputies are not authorized to do anything with the tent law. The tag coverings, though, we can, and quite often, we'll. I'm not going to say that some of our deputies are more proactive, I guess you'd say, about that than others, about stopping them. But if they're, the law, and I'm working back here in my head. I think you have to be able to read a tag from, I think it's 50 feet. Now, how do you gauge that? But 3 or 4 car lengths, you ought to be able to read a tag. And if you can't, then, there actually is a statute that says you can't have your tag covered. So like the ones that are kind of a smoky color, I don't know how to describe it best, tinted, those are not legal. And so you stop the car, you say, hey, you need to take this off. You want to take this off or you want a citation for it, Most people can say, take it off. Of course, they may turn around and put it right back on, but,
Well, interesting that you say about the tinted windows. How many square miles in this state are municipalities, and how many square miles are county?
I got no idea. I can say
But
this.
you understand the point I'm trying to make, don't you?
The other issue with that is if a car manufacturer, if it comes manufactured that way, then you don't have to. It's not against the law. So if a person buys in most new vehicles have pretty dark tinted, especially like trucks and all, they're made that way, and so, it's not against the law for them to do that. And if they go aftermarket and add it, there is. So.
Yeah.
But I've got some good news for you. That little fuzzy pair of dice on your rear view mirror, those are okay. No worries there.
Well, what about that knob on my steering wheel? Is it okay?
Oh yeah, that's a little quick turning.
And that raccoon tail hanging out of my tailpipe. Is it okay? Come on now. You started this.
There you go. That's all good. That's all good, Jimmy. That's all good.
Good Lord.
Oh, mercy. 601-485-9191. Put you right here. Hey, that's a good idea. For the first time in a long time, because I was putting gas in a car that I bought, a 75 Fury.
Yeah.
Lifting the license tag and putting gas in the back of the car.
Wow.
Haven't done that since college. Wow. I mean, that was different. That felt weird. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. Lefty here.
Lefty checking in this morning. Good.
Lefty, almost righty again. Getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a song, Getting Closer Every Day? It's not. It ought to be. I was going to call in this morning, Ward, and ask you a question. Don't you have, 7 working days to get a tag in the state of Mississippi?
Correct. 7 working days. That is correct.
Okay. Why is there not anything on a car designating when that car was bought for an officer to go by? Because I've seen people that run around here for years with a paper tag, and if it breaks, they go get them another one.
Right. Yeah.
There is nothing to indicate how long they've had that car ever. Oh, I just moved here. Okay. Well, there's nothing really for me to. Real loophole right there, and and the tax assessor and the collector sure is missing out on a lot of revenue, because this used to be a real subject of mine. I've learned to get off of it now because I'm not the Lone Ranger. Nobody else seems to give a damn about it, but there's an awful lot of revenue being lost by people running around with no tags, out-of-state tags, whatever. But there needs to be something in place showing the law enforcement community when that vehicle was bought and how long they have been running around without a tag.
Yeah, I like what other states do, which is at the I don't know what they do on a person-to-person sale, but at dealerships, you'll see from other states where they'll have a date. It's usually a 30-day period, and it'll be like written in Sharpie marker or whatever on there. So that you have a clue. What we teach officers to do or look for. I mean, you're looking at the car. You can tell if it's brand spanking new. You still can stop it. It doesn't have a tag on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. But when you start looking,
weeks since they've had it too.
Right. Exactly. Well, what you start looking for is things like how dirty is it, what all's in the car. These kind of things. You got stuff hanging off the mirror. You can kind of tell if somebody's been in a car a little while. Make the stop, write the citation, because they should have paperwork. If they don't have a tag and that you stop them and they say, hey, I just bought it, kind of deal, then write the citation. What I do with I've done in the past is somebody, you write the citation. They don't have the paperwork, say, well, you bring all that to court and we'll take care of it there. But typically that's not what's going on.
No, that's how
let the judge sort it out.
That's how I've saved a lot of money. I kept that applied for tag that you get at the dealership, and just
where do you get those at?
Just drive around with that all the time.
Get them behind Dirt Cheap.
Dirt Cheap. Tony's got them over there.
Same guy who's selling you your insurance.
Exactly.
Because all you got to do is go down there and pay your money. You haven't got to apply for nothing.
See Tony out there behind Dirt Cheap. He'll fix you up.
Tag applied for.
Yeah,
it's the apply. You don't have to apply for them. Go down there and see Doris Island. She give you one right there. You write her a check.
Oh.
You don't have to wait to apply for nothing. You can get a tag that day.
Well, I tell you what now.
Can't you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get a tag that day. You sure
Unless
do.
it's a
That's what I
special.
thought. That's why I laugh every time I see one of those paper tags, a tag applied for, like,
Yeah.
The only time you have to wait on a tag is if you get a specialty tag or like one of the universities
Right.
or one of the new blackout tags. Any of those kind of things, they mail those to you,
Yeah.
and they take sometimes a couple weeks or whatever. But
No, I'm Sheriff. I'll just give you this warning. I would be curious if you see a shady fella that doesn't have use of his right arm and he's driving an old Toyota Supra. I would like to know if that tag is up to date. If you just happen to,
an antique tag, thank you.
Antique.
Antique tag, antique car, antique driver.
there you go. Everything's antique.
it's always good to see someone who's consistent.
That's it.
Right.
All right.
Obeying the law.
There you go.
But anyway, I just wondered about that. I thought it was 7 working days, and
Yeah.
but there's a world of people out there in Meridian driving around, and they're not going to buy a tag. They're not going to get any insurance. They're going to put gas in the car, and that's all they're going to do.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, from what I've seen, but anyway.
Hey, I tell you, one of the other reasons that happens, I'm not saying it's right, but I know from experience, some of these people that buy cars, especially from these car lots that are used car lots, they're on a payment plan and that kind of thing. The car doesn't even it's supposed to get title to them right then, but a lot of times they don't even have the title to the car. They're waiting on the title.
Kind of a buy here, pay here kind of lot.
And now, so you can.
Nothing against used car dealers. We appreciate you being out there.
I mean, it's a business too, but what should transpire is, that that title of that car should be transferred to that person's name. But I've seen 4 months go by and they haven't gotten it yet. And I think some of that's because it's a hassle to do that and then to repo it and come back and get it and whatever.
Probably an assessment of how quick they'll have to bring that car back to the lot.
Correct.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, caller. Appreciate you being out there.
Hey, one other thing before
All right.
What Mr. Benny was talking about, the uninsured motorist, if you get that rider on your insurance policy, you can avoid what he went through, can't you?
I said he had it, I think, didn't he? And that was the problem.
I thought he didn't have it.
Yeah.
Now
He said the car was insured, but the driver was not. I'm like, what?
A lot of insurance companies, if I'm not mistaken, they just kind of leave it to your discretion. If the insurance, if you let anybody drive your car, I mean, it's your policy, and you'll be the one paying the additional premium if they mess up.
But if you get that rider on your insurance policy of uninsured motorists, you could avoid that, right?
Well, the uninsured motorist, as I recall, I hope I'm telling this right, a long time ago, but bottom line, that's that other vehicle. And of course, you could be injured or somebody in your car could be injured. That's the liability part. The property damage is what normally happens. There's a $200 deductible unless that's changed. So even though they don't have any insurance, they hit your car, you may have a $500 collision on your car, if you were at fault. But since
you
it's
still get your car fixed,
right, under the property damage, you still have a $200 deductible.
Okay, all right.
All right, sir. Well, thanks for the call, Lefty, and we're not even going to charge you for those extra 2 minutes now.
Hey, it's a real challenge trying to drive a standard when you've had right arm shoulder surgery.
Okay. Well, there you go. Be careful out there. Thank you.
Don't give me a minute. I'm trying to get it in the
Thank you.
now.
Thank you for the call. I tell you what I would like to see illegal. I'm ready for this law. I mean, I'm so ready for this law.
Uh-oh.
I want it illegal to have a personalized tag that you can't figure out in 2 seconds.
It ought to be a website or something that you can go put them in and figure out an answer.
Yeah. I appreciate those who make the effort of the personalized tags, but if you're trying to send a message, it ain't getting out, some of you. It just ain't getting there. Mornings in Meridian, we'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to Mornings in Meridian. Roger, along with Rob.
That was a good one.
I love those, some Eagles there. And we've got some, well, of course, Charles Frazier's in the house here.
Of course.
Sheriff Ward Calhoun is here with us today.
Yep.
All right, appreciate that. And, of course, callers, it's interesting. Rob made the comment, couldn't believe that the topic of insurance would dominate the first hour of our show.
It's a big issue.
Yes, life in the fast lane. Yeah. All right, it's Mornings in Meridian. Glad you're out there. You too can ask the sheriff a question. We've got a caller on the line, but please stay by because we want to talk about somebody very important. In fact, I'll just suggest to you, Sheriff, that if you'd like to set up a traffic checkpoint, I recommend you do it on Highway 19 right in front of Trucker Supply because while people are waiting, they could go in and buy something they want or need at Trucker Supply.
While they're waiting for their tickets to be written?
Well, waiting in line to get it moved up.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, traffic backs up a little bit during that time.
Well,
or they can just pull in there,
Right.
After
Go visit them anytime, whether there's a sheriff in front or not. But
Yeah.
Trucker Supply, one-stop shop for all your tools. They got those Canipix tools, like channel locks on steroids, a full room of Milwaukee tools. I mean, everything they make, cordless power tools, saws, drills, impact drills, sanders, grinders, cutters, routers, grease guns, and more. All made right here in the state of Mississippi. I ought to call them Milwaukee tools, or Mississippi tools, if you ask me. And, of course, they've got Yeti, everything you need, mugs, coolers, lunch boxes, even Yeti dog dishes, and Yeti parts as well. If you need a new lid for your mug, they've got them there. And hot seat pressure washers, not only do they sell them, they service them there as well. Best pressure washer you can buy.
Love it.
Roger will attest to that. Go see them, 519 Highway 19 South. Of course, you can always give them a call, 601-693-2316. One-stop shop for all your tools, Truckers Supply.
My pressure washing this year has been delayed by a bird nest with little bitties on the back porch.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You can pressure wash those, too.
I know.
Simple solution.
Got to get rid of that thing, I tell you what.
I hear you.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the right thing here.
Oh, okay.
Let's take a phone call here at Mornings in Meridian. You have a question for the sheriff.
Yes, I do. 3 or 4 weeks ago, when we had the awful murder that took place of the couple, the Harringtons,
Yes.
we found out about there are halfway houses here, and we were not even aware of that. And I don't know if Sheriff can talk about that or not. We wrote to the Meridian Star encouraging them to do an article or something, but we've not have not received a reply back. But perhaps Ward can share some information about the halfway houses and how it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for listening. All right.
I
There
have
you go.
very, very limited knowledge myself. I really wasn't aware either. But I, since that occurred and asking some questions, I've learned that throughout the state that the Mississippi Department of Corrections contracts with private businesses that operate some of these what are referred to as halfway houses. This is where individuals coming out of prison, not everyone, these are people who, for whatever reason, don't have a home to go to. When you get out or probation, one of the requirements coming out of prison is you have to have some place to go to. Now, many people have family, whatever they can go to, and so it's not that big a deal. There are times when there are individuals who their family doesn't want them or they're not from here. In the case of this particular incident, this guy's from Texas, not from here. It's my understanding, and so
How did he get here?
he was he got charged with some type of drug trafficking down in D'Iberville, maybe, or somewhere on the coast. Had gone to prison for 2 years, was eligible to get out, after like 6 months, but didn't have anywhere to go to. They had put him, they said, okay, you can go out to parole. You're eligible now. Had no record in the system. He was fine, no issues at that time. And then, but he didn't have anywhere to go. Set for like 14 months. And now he's fixing what commonly called flat time. He's done completely with the 2 years. And they want whatever mechanisms they use internally. And I don't know, but they said, hey, we need to get this guy out. So they sent him to the halfway house. And I have no idea how many there are in Meridian. I don't know how many people.
Now, don't you think, I have to ask this, Sheriff, I could see where the people of Lauderdale County would be pretty critical of you not knowing that these houses are out there or how many there are. It seems like if anybody should know, it'd be the sheriff would know.
Well, it's a MDOC program, and they've never come around and said, "Hey, let's tell you about these places we send people to." The backside of that is
okay. We see one problem. We see one problem here. It would seem to me that the Department of Corrections should inform every law enforcement, chief, that they have these halfway houses in their jurisdiction.
I have no idea how many. I believe there's at least 2, I think, here. But I don't have any idea how many people are even at them. The other side of that, it could be simply we haven't had any issues, or at least that I'm aware of until now. I have heard from someone at MDOC who said, hey, the one here in Meridian is really a good one. They help a lot of people get jobs, get their driver's license, kind of get them started back, in society.
I actually have employed someone that was through one of these houses, and it was a good situation for us.
So it's not a situation like where they're in jail and they're being monitored and all this kind of stuff. A halfway house is not set, or at least the ones that I understand, are not set up that way. Once they're released out, it's a place for them to stay, a place for them to get counseling.
So I guess being that a halfway house, quote unquote, first of all, how would they get their funding? How do they survive?
My understanding is MDOC contracts with them, so every day somebody's there.
Okay, so then it is a halfway house. Then is technically part of Department of Corrections, or at least part of the system.
Right, it's a vendor for MDOC.
Which goes back to my original concern then, and I think it's the concern of the caller, is that yes, I think that being the case, there should be reports given from the State Department of Corrections to local law enforcement as to what's out there, and these are operating. Just want you to know that.
Right, and of course the city would be much more in tune, and perhaps they did know. I have no idea, if that's information.
We'll never find out.
Well, and it sounds like to me, with this situation being different than those in the past, maybe that will come where there'll be better communication. Maybe I don't know.
We do get, for example, if Rob, if you're being let out of prison, we get a notification. They send us a notification that says, "Hey, Rob was convicted in this county. He's getting out on this date."
And it's got his picture.
Doesn't have his picture,
mug.
just a name. It doesn't.
It'd be a very good
notification.
He's a handsome gentleman, isn't he? But you ought to. But I think if anybody's coming into your county, you ought to know this guy's a convicted criminal. He's moving to a halfway house. This is the location of the house, and this is the crimes that he's been convicted of. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to look out for him on the street, but certainly he's on your radar. Like, this guy is just getting out of prison. So, and that's I think a lot of times when crimes are committed, the first few weeks after they're out. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it seems to be. I read about that.
Well,
and I don't know what the stats.
I could get on my stump right now and tell you this is a problem in our state that we have got to figure out a better way of business. The Mississippi Department of Corrections in Lauderdale County, we have over 1,400 people that are on probation or parole in our county, and we have a handful. I don't have the exact number, 5 or 6 probation officers. There's absolutely no way that they can keep track of these individuals. And so they don't. What happens is it's whack-a-mole. When one of them doesn't show up 2 or 3, 4 months in a row, doesn't pay their fines, whatever, whack-a-mole. It pops up, they go get a piece of paper, put it in the courts, probation violation, we get a copy. And in theory, they should be out looking for them. In reality, that doesn't happen.
Which agency do the parole officers work for?
Mississippi Department of Corrections.
So that's all MDO. Okay.
It's all MDOC, and it's it's all a matter of funding. You've got to have enough funds to hire people that want to work there.
So I'll
say
to the caller and anybody else who's listening, then what you've got to do, our friend Jeff Tate, our friend Billy Adam Calvert, people that are representing us in Jackson, you've got to let them know that if this is something that upsets you, you've got to let them know that the state has to do something about this.
Well, it's the state function. They are, they're in prison by the state of Mississippi. They violated the laws of the state of Mississippi. And we as county taxpayers, we have the county jail. And that's where all these folks come, and we deal with them until the time that they appear in court. They plead guilty, get found guilty, and then they become a state inmate. They don't even pick them up anymore. This has been going on for 20 years. We have to carry them over there to the state prison, and they're state property. Well, that state property needs to be being taken care of by the state. There are sheriffs in Mississippi. I do not subscribe to this. Sheriff Solly did not subscribe to this, but I know of one in North Mississippi. If their deputies stopped somebody and they had a probation violation, he said, we'll carry them to our jail. They sit for 1 hour, and we call probation and parole. They don't come serve the warrant. They don't come take care of their business. We let them go out the front door unless we have other charges on them. I do not subscribe to that. I'm not going to, because that person.
How long will you keep them?
Well, They're going to come. They're going to come serve them, or we wouldn't have picked them up unless they had a warrant already.
Yeah.
And with us, we get a copy from the courts, and we keep a copy, so we know if Rob's on probation, he's got a probation violation warrant out there, and we stop him. We're going to pull him in. We're going to put him in jail. We're going to notify them. We're going to serve him. We're going to keep him there. But there are others, and I understand where that sheriff was coming from, because he says, I can hardly do my job I've got now, much less do the state's job. They need to be doing their job. Now,
and I get the feeling sometimes that the state is really important. Their agenda is to try to make their books look really good. Look how much money we're saving in law enforcement, and look how much reserve we have in the state. Look how much surplus we have. And they're not too worried about the costs and the trouble on the local law enforcement.
There is a price that we as society pay that is hard to put a number on for the things that are done by individuals who ought to be in the custody of the state of Mississippi. Now this particular crime with the Harringtons, not so much, but the shooting that our deputy was involved in back on March 1st, that guy had been out for 28 months, I believe, almost 2.5 years, had a probation violation. Nobody ever looked for him. And he should have been violated. I mean, he already had a violation. He already had the warrant. And somebody should have been putting him back in jail. We continue to these changes in our society and our laws. We give these people umpteen opportunities to fix their problem. The recidivism rate in Mississippi is horrendous. We should be looking and going, I don't have the exact number. I want to say it's like 68%. I mean, that is terrible. What are we doing? Obviously, what we are doing is not working.
Thank you.
We need to figure out what changes need to be made so we can have a safer society.
And you said you didn't want to get on your soapbox.
I want to do it, but
I'm glad you did.
Done.
I'm glad you did.
It's frustrating. Yep. It's very frustrating.
We want to hear from you. If you have any questions, I want to make sure that you do know that who helps bring this show to you. And we want to thank great sponsors to this show. People like, I'm looking at Battery One Source, John Dufour and his team down there.
Don't be a dumb bunny.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's exactly right. Be a smart bunny and go to Battery One Source, 2618 North Frontage Road, in between exit 152 and 153. John Dufour and all of his crew will help you get batteries for every need in description: watches, remote cell phones, even laptop computers. They also do golf cart service and repair. Boy, it's getting time to hit the links, so that's the time to get your golf cart fixed. Also, cell phone repair, they have the best guy in the business bringing it in for a quick fix. They're open 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. That is Battery One Source, 2618 North Frontage Road. Give them a call, 601-693-1500. It's your one source for batteries here in Meridian.
Got a lot of comments over here on Facebook. Michelle Griffith-Joyner has flooded us over here. I'm going to read these because they've been up here for a few minutes. But going back to the insurance discussion we had earlier, both the statute and the state's website say the insurance follows the car, not the driver. Yet the insurance companies are allowed to exclude coverage based on who is driving. Under that logic, if my dad needs to borrow my car, I can't let him because he's on my insurance. That's from Michelle right there. And then she went on to say, like I've told Ward, I think the Mississippi legislator needs to do like Texas and impound the car if someone is pulled over or has a wreck and it's discovered the driver has no license or insurance and the person has to show proof of both to get it back.
Oh yeah,
I like
we
that.
would have to.
I like that.
We're gonna need the Ag Center for something more than shows.
Right.
Oh,
Big lots.
I guarantee you there'll be some private enterprise that would open up some real estate to
There's
receive
a big
cars.
spot behind Dirt Cheap, from what I understand.
Tony, down there with the van.
He'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
care of it.
Tony,
so.
Tony.
Then she went on to say the state needs to stop cutting funding for housing prisoners and also for mental health.
Amen.
Yeah,
I'm with her
mental
on
health,
that one.
definitely.
And that's the I don't want to hear, oh, look at the surplus we have in Mississippi. We've got all this great surplus, blah blah, and we're not taking care of business like we should with the law enforcement and with the prisoners.
Yeah, but basic government. I look. I'm not for big government. I promise you. But the things that government should be doing, the core
Let's just
elements
get-
of
yeah,
government, we
thank you.
need to take care of. Our crime lab. I mean, part of the problem. Law enforcement catches bad guys. We're doing a pretty dang good job statewide catching bad guys and girls. The problem is the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no reason for somebody to sit in our jail down there for 2 years waiting on a trial.
Exactly.
Most of the time, the wait on all of that is crime lab, getting autopsy results back, and it's because we don't fund these entities at the level that obviously needs to.
Hey, look at the money we're saving.
Yeah.
So that we
there.
can do the things that we need to do.
All right, we got a caller on the line here. Oh, one more.
One more comment.
Stand by, caller. We're going to get to you in just a second.
Roger, you've been talking about this for a while. We need a new jail in the big space between the MPD and the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department and the new county government complex. That would be truly the best use of the property.
Plenty
You've
of
been
real
talking about
estate,
that forever.
very convenient to the courtrooms and the sheriffs and the police departments. It's a government complex, people. It's a complex.
And
so make
another,
it so.
We got another comment from Zane. We'll get to it here in a minute, but let's go to the phone there. So
I don't know if we should have a jail out where everybody can see it. I think you should put a jail right next to schools. Let the kids see where they're going to go if they don't keep their. Well, anyway, let's say good morning, caller. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
I was just thinking if you were as successful as an insurance person as you are as a sheriff in convincing people to vote for you, then you were pretty successful. We like to boast, and we.
I don't know. I noticed he don't. I noticed he didn't stay in the business.
Yeah.
Well, as voters, we like to boast when we made good choices, and I think we've made a good choice in electing Ward Calhoun as sheriff of Lauderdale County. But if you will allow me to digress just a moment, you guys are talking about, and I want to ask you to weigh. I want you to weigh in on another issue also too concerning crime rates and how it relates to the city and the county and so forth. But back to that halfway house situation, and I got kind of interrupted as you and Roger were engaged in the conversation about having the knowledge of the existence of these houses in our communities. Now, I think you said that they don't necessarily come to you, and I don't think you demand there are no laws that mandate that they should inform law enforcement entities in the respective communities that they exist. But now, given light of what happened with the murdering of these of the Harringtons, do you think that something should be in place? Some entity could or should, or in other words, some communications should and could be made to let law enforcement know that these places do exist, so that there could be consciousness of behalf of the public, or law enforcement could perhaps frequent something. I mean, just for them to just exist inconspicuously. I kind of chills me to know that. What do you see that could be done relative to that?
I think there's a couple of issues here that I don't have answers for that come to mind. One is I'm assuming that these locations by zoning from the city are in places where they can be. That would be one question. In a perfect world, there would be, at least in my mind, these individuals are being monitored. They're out. Most of them are going to be on probation, which would tell me that they ought to have a probation officer who is attentive to what they're doing, and are they upholding their end of the agreement for them to be on probation. And that goes kind of back to what I was talking to before. There's absolutely no way with the numbers that we have in the state of Mississippi that they're able. I know they will tell you they can't do that. They spend all their time shuffling paper in an office. They don't get out in the field because there's not enough of them. They can't do everything that needs to be done. the system has lots of flaws that need to be attended to. It all goes back to one basic thing, as most problems do: money, and having the resources that they need to do the job that they are tasked to do.
But you know, I don't mean to interrupt, but you know, I guess the angle I'm taking on it, if you know, if it was my parents, elderly, living in that area, and that was a halfway house in close proximity.
I don't think that. I don't mean to shut you off, but I don't think the house is in close proximity to where the crime occurred.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm misinformed.
I'm not 100%, but it's my understanding. It's a little it's not like right there. It's. And I don't know. I don't remember where someone told me, but when they did, I thought to myself, "Well, that's not even close."
Okay. Well, then I would just like to know if I had kids or grandkids or elderly. But one other thing now, the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer in the county. Therefore, his officers have the same jurisdiction, I'm assuming here, as his officers. Now, when you hear about Meridian crime rate, and there appears to be, I mean, this is not. I'm not saying you personally, but I've heard it from callers and just conversing with people about the crime rate and how it appears to be somewhat of an indictment against the Meridian Police Department. But then I'm scratching my head. I'm saying, now, wait a minute. Now, I see a lot of their county on traffic stops and everything. Do they have the same authority to curtail crime when they're in the city? I mean, to interact, to do what the police officers in the municipalities do. Do they have that same? If so, then if the crime rate is bad and if there's an indictment to be placed upon law enforcement, and I'm not saying it is, then do the county as well as the city both bear the burden of the high crime rate?
Yes. Let me put it to you like this. A long time ago, a group of citizens got together and said, you know what, the county is this basic form of government. We think we can do even better, and we're going to form a city, and we're going to tax the people for additional taxes, and we're going to give them enhanced services: fire, water, sewer, law enforcement, code enforcement. And so cities, were created. We have jurisdiction anywhere in Lauderdale County. We cannot enforce municipal codes. However, we can enforce state law. But the citizens of the city of Meridian and the town of Marion pay additional taxes for additional law enforcement functions. And we as the Sheriff's Department have a different job. A lot of times when I talk to young people, I go, we got a different color uniform and we have a similar job, but our job is somewhat different. The basic core is the same, but we have the additional responsibility of courts, the jail, serving the courts, all the paperwork out of that, mental health commitments, these other things that police departments don't do. We do not have the resources to be the police department for the town of Marion or the city of Meridian. We don't have those kind of resources in terms of numbers. And so while we have jurisdiction and we work with the Meridian Police Department and if they call for assistance, if they call, we have never failed to show up and help. We will always do that because we're all serving the same citizens.
Right.
It is.
So with that being said, all in favor of a combined law enforcement for Lauderdale County, eliminating the Marion and the City of Meridian Police Department, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's a majority in this room. It's carried.
Okay,
Well,
Sheriff didn't vote.
But look, what I'm hearing, and I appreciate it, Sheriff, you're not necessarily standing back, beating your chest and saying, ha, 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 they got bad numbers, we got good numbers. You're saying we're in this together, and I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate the fact that you come with information and that when you ask questions, you don't hem and haw, you are direct and you put forth the effort to answer those questions. And I think that's what we mostly appreciate you for as being the chief law enforcement officer in our county. Thank you again for your service, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right. And, of course, nothing against the Marion Police Department or even the Meridian Police Department as such. It's just common sense in my mind that this county have combined law enforcement.
That's uncommon sense around here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Hey, so I've got a question for you.
Yes,
and this is the specifics of the Harrington case. Okay. So the timeline was that the murders were committed on a Thursday. Is that right, or Friday?
I'm Thursday night is when the crime was discovered.
Okay.
About 6, I believe.
And they found the suspect in CVS, I think, the bathroom or something like that, on Sunday or Monday.
One of those days, a few days.
And if you're in a halfway house, you're supposed to check in or go home, right?
I don't know what the rules are. I don't.
That's my understanding. I mean,
I would think
that
you would think so.
But then, if he didn't go back during those days, you would hopefully receive an alert.
Yeah.
All of the law enforcement entities in the county would receive an alert.
That comes back to I think needs to be that communication.
Well, even if you don't know where they are, right? But you would
Yeah.
think that the whatever you call it, chaperone, the guy who's running the halfway house would then alert the authorities. Hey, we've got a guy who's just got out of jail, who's gone missing. You know, here's his picture. Let's look out for him.
Yeah.
Now, does that prevent a crime? No, it doesn't. But you would think that there'd be some sort of communication between MDOC and all of different law enforcement.
I just don't have enough information about what the rules even state, and there may not be any rules. Got to be in by 10 p.m. There may not even be. It may be more like, here's a bed. This is where you sleep.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And,
Wow.
maybe that
Okay.
simple. I just don't know.
So once again, a breakdown of the system. Yeah.
Well, this is an area where it could certainly be enhanced.
Yeah, definitely.
It could be enhanced here by having some sort of required, especially, I mean, if a halfway house was privately funded, that's a whole different thing. But if it's funded contractually with the Mississippi Department of Corrections, then yes, there needs to be some guidelines by the communication between MDOC and local law enforcement.
And certainly wouldn't have prevented that crime, but it would certainly make the response a little more.
It
they
probably would have found the
focus it a little
criminal
better.
quicker. Okay, maybe, but who knows? Who knows how it would be? Because if you're under more scrutiny in the halfway house, then maybe I wouldn't say scrutiny, but monitored a little bit more.
Well, and I think it just goes back to it's just so much vagueness with these places right now. I mean, we just don't know, like you said, the rules or what go. I mean, it's just
the fact that the sheriff of Lauderdale County doesn't know
that's a big
where they are, what the rules are.
Yeah.
That shows a major communication issue.
Well, I think the public needs to know where they are.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mornings in Meridian. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air with Roger and Rob and Charles, and the sheriff is here.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, Miss Ruth.
Ruth, good morning.
Good morning. Good news. My grandson graduated last Thursday, summa cum laude, but he did not get into Yale. That's the bad news.
Well, they were probably busy protesting. He couldn't even get through the crowd, maybe.
Well, he got into Georgetown, but we don't have enough money for that. But anyway, he's going to be okay. He did get into a good school. And
What school did he get into, if you don't mind me asking?
American University, and so he doesn't have to pay to go there.
Oh,
And
good.
They're paying everything.
College
Anyway,
skip.
he
Good.
definitely
Congratulations.
He's interested. Yeah, he's interested in being an ambassador. So
Yeah.
he up there Georgetown is really where he needs to be, and probably he can transfer to there next year. But what I want to talk about.
Georgetown is where he needs to be. I disagree, but that's all right.
Georgetown.
Yeah.
All right,
Georgetown,
so,
yeah.
but what I want to talk about here is the building, talking about jails, building more jails and that kind of thing. If even when Oprah was hanging out in the jails and everything and talking to people who were prisoners in the places, she found that most of them could not read. And the ones who were committing the crimes and the ones who were on drugs, same problem, cannot read. So why is it that we can't look at it from another standpoint to say, let's get out here and have a whole town involved in teaching people to read, start regardless of their age? Because remember, Miss Paula Heidelberg did not learn to read until she was 50 years old. Although she was able to function in other ways, she was not able to read until that time. And so with this program, with what we're calling the DOACH 220, that site vocabulary word list, there are 220 words. If you remember, the students have to memorize starting in pre-K and going up at each level, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, And by the time you finish grade 3, you should have mastered those 220 words that they're calling the DOTE sight words and those 95 nouns that go with them. If you do that, it means that you are functioning at a beginning fourth grade reading level. And so why can't we just all, as a whole town, start out on this list? You volunteer, you've got the community centers, you've got the kids who can be doing things during the summer to be helping other children and even adults who are interested in learning to read. That DOTE 220 word list, right there, it's on the internet, and I'm certainly sending out the list. I've sent out the list of words, to many people to say, as a town, let's get on a famous list of Meridian, Mississippi has the highest reading level of people in this country right now, and we can do that.
So let me just make sure I understand your question, because it's been fairly lengthy. This is just clarification, Ruth.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that we volunteer to go in the jails and teach reading, or just go, and then if it's not going to the jails to teach reading, where would we go to teach reading if I'm volunteering?
In terms of the volunteering, I'm talking about teaching in the community centers, in the churches, all of these words, even on billboards. Just have the whole list of words there for everybody in the town to see, but focus mainly on those the children who are, when you're trying to get them to read by the time they have finished third grade.
So don't we have that?
Everybody should get on board.
Yeah.
Everybody should get on board.
Everybody quit what you're doing and let's go somewhere, wherever this is going to go, to the community centers, to your churches, and teach these 200 words.
No. Everybody should not quit what they're doing. Everybody should be willing, since we're going to benefit from this. I mean, just look at the people who lost their lives. The person who did this has absolutely nothing to do with, related to us in any way.
Okay.
So it seems to us that a light should have gone out, that it is in my best interest to make sure that people get, be functioning at a level where they don't have to go out and do the drugs and do the crime and that kind of thing. And if I volunteer maybe an hour or two a week or something at my community center or at my church or in my club or something.
Okay, Ruth. All right. Very good. Good suggestion. Good suggestion. Volunteer to help teach reading. Very good. All right.
Exactly.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. No specific question for the sheriff, but just wanted to let you know that
they can read the citations then, and that's important.
That's important.
I do have a comment on Facebook about that. Because the state went along with Common Core, which essentially forces teachers to teach to the test, and if you saw the recent stats, roughly half of the kids and more than half of the city schools failed the third grade reading tests. It starts in the home.
Well, it does, and I think our whole educational system needs to be revamped. And that is an issue, and she does bring up an important point. Literacy is important, but let's start with the kids. And she was talking about getting kids involved with these things. They already are, because they're going to school. We would hope. Now, is there an outreach program that MCC or other maybe Meridian Public Schools or Lauderdale County Schools could do for adults? I don't know if there's something in place or not. I know there was in bigger cities, New Orleans and Memphis, that I lived before, but I don't know if there is here.
In our educational system, is it true, Sheriff, that everybody is required to be in school somewhere? Every minor?
The Mississippi compulsory school law, yes. Homeschooled and process go through to document.
Okay, so if everybody's supposed to be in school, there needs to be an accountability with everybody who's teaching.
Don't advance them.
A person does not go forward unless they have a certain reading level.
Of course.
And I have a feeling that problem we're having is they're just getting shoved through the system.
Because the numbers are so high, there's no way to keep them where they are.
Exactly.
You have whole classes.
We've got to tell some folks about, where to go. Every once in a while, you will probably brush up against somebody with your vehicle. Not somebody, another car.
Oh, yeah.
Could be an uninsured motorist. But guess what? If you go to the body shop, thank goodness you have people there at the Premier Paint and Body Shop that know how to work with insurance companies and get you the best repair possible.
That's right. I'm sure the sheriff sees accidents, how many a day? 20, 30?
No, I don't, not that many. We probably have, that's a great question. I thought last year, we worked about 400 crashes.
at least one a day.
One a day.
Wow.
But I do get to
more
choose.
in the city, many more in the city. They probably did, 1,500, 2,000.
Wow.
So.
But if I'm in an accident, you'll come and ask me, where do I need to take my vehicle? I do get to choose where to send my vehicle, right? If it's towed away.
Yeah. Or you could choose which wrecker, or if you don't have a preference and it has to be towed, we'll go off our rotation list.
But I can tell them where to take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, what's your preference?
Premier Paint and Body Shop.
That's right. They are the premier paint and body shop here in town. Over 90 years combined experience among that hard-working, dedicated staff. Of course, they've been doing it for over 30 years as a group. Ty Booker leads the crew. No job is too small, whether it's a ding, a dent, a scratch, or someone keys your car, or too big. Like new results, and of course, they'll do auto body repair and painting, automotive glass replacement. They will give you a free estimate and work with your insurance company. And all of their work has a lifetime warranty, conveniently located right next to Johnson Dodge on Highway 39, North, open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Give them a call and write this number down, because when you need them, like Roger says, have it towed there. You need this number, 601-482-PAINT. 601-482-PAINT for Premier Paint and Body, the premier paint and body shop here in town.
Yes, indeed. And we got a caller on the line. Question for the sheriff. Go ahead.
Good morning, y'all.
Morning.
Oh, boy, that last caller. They have the school system for that.
That's what
for the reading part.
Yep.
Well, I'm okay if individual wants to volunteer. It's not going to be. I mean, logistically, you're not going to have the whole town show up and teach people how to read. But it's okay to somebody wants to do remedial. But if we're not checking this in the school system, then we have a major problem.
It's physical responsibility of your children.
Yeah.
School's free, education's free. Everybody gets the same start. Everybody starts out on the same page.
Ooh, go.
It's good. But I got a question for the sheriff, and I believe it's come up a lot, and I hope I didn't miss out on the first part of it's been asked. There was two cases here lately. I think one accident involving a pedestrian, and I think another business person got charged with some crime evasion. But there was some talks about bonds, people being out on bonds. I think there's a lot of people who don't understand how the bonds work and how bonds are determined, and I'd like the sheriff to discuss that.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Great call.
Just explain to the people why some are lower than others and how they come about.
Good question.
Great question. Thank you for bringing that up, because a lot of times I scream at Facebook as I'm reading it, because
don't we all?
By our state constitution, you as a citizen are allowed to make bond if you are charged with a crime. There are a couple of exceptions, capital murder, for example. There are a few little exceptions like that. But the vast majority, if you as a citizen are charged with a crime, you have the right to make bond. The purpose of the bond is simply a mechanism for the court to hold someone accountable financially if you don't come to court, is the purpose of what a bond. So how do we get a bond? All right, so in Mississippi, the way this works, if Rob, I picked on you enough
Come
today.
on.
You've been on probation, coming to halfway houses and a lot of other stuff.
I'm
So,
everywhere.
Charles, you get to be the guy.
What?
So
Why not
why
Roger?
not?
Why me?
So let's say that we
At least we know where Rob is half the time.
Part of the time.
Halfway house.
So if Charles gets, we're going to charge him with a crime, whether it's us, we've done an investigation and we're charging him, or if another citizen is charging him with a felony charge. What happens is an affidavit is completed. That affidavit is taken to a justice court judge. In our county, we have 4 elected justice court judges. Okay, one of those judges, they have their own call because justice court judges, it's not like they're in the office over there all week long. They kind of come and go, and they have certain court dates and their own call. So whoever's on call, that investigator typically is going to call that judge and say, sir, we need to get with you. We have an affidavit charging, let's say, Charles with burglary. And so we're going to come to the judge with that affidavit. That in that affidavit is going to have some basic information about why Charles is being charged with burglary, the elements of the crime, if that is a good way of looking at them. And then the judge is going to read that, going to take a sworn oath to the person who is the affiant, the one signing this affidavit, typically that investigator. And then the judge is going to, many times they know these individuals, they recognize a name, or they may ask, tell me more about this person. Are they from here? What history do you know about them? The judge then, in his discretion, decides what bond to put on that charge. So if Charles is a first-time offender, we don't know anything about him, he's from here, judge may say $5,000. He may put $500,000. There is no rule.
The judge calls that.
He makes that, decision about what should be reasonable. I don't remember the exact language, the way it's worded, but it should be reasonable. And then that bond, we take Charles to jail. We book him in there. He has this bond.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Charles still has some recourse. Let's say he can't say it's $50,000 bond. And he's unemployed. His family won't get him out. He feels like, man, I'm a first-time offender. Come on, $50,000. I was just getting a job, or maybe I am employed. I'm going to lose my job if I don't get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So he can file with the court, have a bond reduction hearing, where he can say, hey, judge, look, I'm a first-time offender. I didn't do it. Whatever he has to say. Bottom line is, I can't make bond. I got a new job, whatever the issues he wants to put before the court for that. And the judge can then reduce. We see this all the time. The judge says, okay, you look, all right. Can you make a $10,000 bond? I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get you out of jail, reduce it to $10,000. That bond is only there as a mechanism that if he doesn't show up, it's owed to the court.
And as clarification, the bond amount is what the person will be liable for if he doesn't show. To get out on a $10,000 bond, it's a percentage, right?
If you use a bonding company, it is like renting money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and so they're going to want, and I don't know the percentage.
Sounds a lot like banks.
Yeah, somewhere between 15 and 20% is what you're going to pay the bonding company to borrow that $10,000 to put that surety, to put that up with the court.
Okay.
They're on the hook if you don't show up. All right. Now, if he's a first-time offender,
which means Dog the Bounty Hunter comes after you if you don't show up.
That's what Dog does. That's exactly what he does. All right. So
doggone right.
Yeah. So, but let's say that Charles's family starting to, okay, we were mad at him, 50, we couldn't do that, but 10, he's a first-time offender. He can do what's called a 10% bond.
Okay.
They can bring $10,000 bond.
His family's not going to do that.
$1,000 cash and put that up with the court, and then he's going to be released. Now, if you're found guilty or you plead guilty, that money goes toward whatever fines and assessments you have, because we've had families get sideways about that before. The form says it, and sometimes they're just not paying attention. But that is what a bond is for. Bond is not saying they're guilty. That typically judges, and you got 4 different justice court judges, they all can make it. They could be looking at the same case and have 4 different bond amounts. One may start off at 5, one may be at 100, and they answer to the voters.
Right.
That's how that's done. I mean, it's
so they set the bond, and then
right.
you can pay the percentage of the bond to get out. But then if you don't show for court, then whoever's liable for that has to pay that whole amount of the bond.
When you hear sometimes on television, for example, we talk about on CrimeNet, somebody has a bench warrant. All right, well, that's where that person was supposed to have been in court, and they didn't show up, and the judge has issued a bench warrant for them.
Gotcha.
And that's when we're looking for them. The bail bonding company's looking for them. That's what that's for.
A lot of people looking for you. All right. Well, our number here, if you have a question for the sheriff, that's a good question, caller. We appreciate that. And I know another caller trying to get in here. Give us a call, 601-485-9191. In the meantime, we want to make sure, because this conversation, here's the reality, folks. We have actually, if you've noticed, we've blown through all the Fox News programs because this is important.
It's going to be Trump and
Cohen.
And
this is important
Israel
stuff.
Yeah, there's your news. Okay,
got that taken care of. Okay, but it's making me hungry, so I need to know where I can go get a good breakfast after this.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, midnight snack, whatever you need. The Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop, exit 150. You know where they are. Today, lunch, turkey, and dressing.
Thanksgiving today.
What? Yes. Every Tuesday is Thanksgiving anyway at the Magnolia Restaurant. Of course, they also got chicken wings, beef liver with onions and gravy. I love that. Not everyone loves that. I do. hamburger steak with onion and gravy as well, fried chicken, red beans, and rice. They always got the veggie plates.
Mouth is
the
watering.
Biggie Burger. How big is that, Rob?
Huge.
It's humongous.
Very, very large.
The humongous hamburger, but the Biggie Burger sounds better. Give them a call. Get something to go. 601-482-0259. Go see them. Exit 150. You know, the coffee's hot. The air conditioning's cold. The service is friendly. It's just a great place to go, and you meet some interesting folks over there, too.
All right, that's the Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City's truck stop at exit 150. Put your blinker on. Get over there safely.
And don't speed on your way.
No, don't do that.
No.
Wear your seatbelt while you're
Wear your
going.
seatbelt, too. Have insurance.
Kathy, listener, wants to ask you, or ask the sheriff to mention the scam seminar that's going to be going on at the Activity Center next Tuesday. A scam seminar, teaching people how to scam.
We're going to teach seniors how to scam, give them some.
Nice.
Won't be on a fixed income anymore. Depends on how well you can do it.
Yes, indeed.
Look, this is a problem in our communities all across our country. It is one of these situations where I have talked about this forever, and it will continue into the future happening. Cannot say enough. Quit talking to these people. I try to convince seniors to not answer their phone if they don't. Get your grandkids, your kids, learn to do it yourself. Program the people who you know into your phone as a contact. When you look at your phone and you see them, answer the phone. If it's a number that you don't know who's calling, simply let it go to voicemail. You can then always call that person back. These con artists are good. That's how they make a living, is by conning people out of their money. Common theme, there's always a new one all the time. We've seen them where they've not gone to jury duty. They have an old fine. They were involved in drug smuggling, and their Social Security number was used, and your Social Security check's going to get cut off if you don't deal with this and pay this civil fine. They come up with, there's a new variation all the time. So here are the common themes. They contact you. You got to do something. They create urgency. You're going to be embarrassed, or your money's going to be cut off, that kind of thing. And they give you a solution. And that solution is give me your checking account number, your credit card number, or go to a drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, one of these, get a green dot card and call. I'm going to call back, and you're going to give me the number, and you're going to pay this, and then it's done away with. They act like we had several where you would literally call the number back, and it was, you've reached the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. If you've been contacted about a warrant, press 1, and then you're talking to the guy. They are a lot of technology out there. I then hear from people, well, why don't y'all do something about it? We don't have the resources or the ability to do anything about these kind of things. People have got to be their own first layer of protection, and do that by quit talking to these people. And by the way, that same phone that you're getting all this information on, you can Google and look at our phone number. Don't go by the phone number on the screen, because they can spoof a phone number. Call us. Let us talk to you. You call us, and we get a call every day. Matter of fact, the lady answered our phone. Her second favorite thing behind Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department is, no, that's a scam, because we hear it every single day. So don't fall for it. And we will be doing that next week. I need to look at my calendar for the exact time, because I don't remember the time. But next week we'll be at the Meridian Activity Center. I believe it's Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday the 28th, a week from today, at 10 o'clock at the Meridian Activity Center, talking about that and some other things.
And I think that's important. I know there's a senior who's near and dear to me who has fallen in, somebody who's and I on book, and I've, they start the conversation. They just happen to be somewhere at a job in the oil fields or somewhere, but they really like you and they want to meet you. But, if I could just get my stuff shipped to this, if I could have some money to get my stuff shipped to this, and then I can pay you back when I get there, and that kind of thing. And people can get it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but people get soaked up in that.
We had a man, it's probably been 10 years ago, who, to prove they were a scammer, he sent them money. I am not kidding you.
Oh, gosh.
I am not kidding.
Wow.
Now say that. What did he say?
Now that's dedication.
His family kept telling him this was what was going on, and he believed him. He said, I know it, but he said, I'm talking to him, and they talked him into it, and they reversed it on him and said, I'm going to prove you wrong. Send us the money, and when I send it back to you, you'll have to owe me an apology. And the guy did it. Sent him $500.
Wow.
And
I'll show you he's not a scammer.
I like what.
You're just like,
Or
what?
that he is a scammer, right?
Look, and this is not just seniors. We had a guy who worked at the Navy base out there who had a top secret clearance. He's a civilian. He's not in the Navy. And they told him, hey, you missed jury duty, federal jury duty, and you're fixing to, somewhere along the way, he made a comment. They caught on to it and said, not a problem. Don't pay the fine. We'll go ahead and make sure we note and get it through the system. And I'll take care of that top secret clearance you got. Well, he freaked out. He went and got green dot cards.
Mercy.
The guy has my phone number. He has my phone number. He didn't call me. His wife called my wife and was telling her, my wife, she's programmed too. It's a scam. Stop right now.
Yeah.
She called him. He was literally dialing the guy's number back to give him the green dot numbers because he was afraid he'd lose his job. And this guy's a smart guy, y'all. You're going out in the world.
The best advice has come from Sheriff Ward Calhoun and from Bob Newhart, the comedian.
Yes. Okay, here they are. Stop it!
That's how you fix it. Stop it.
Quit talking to him.
Just stop it. And here's the thing. And we tried that. Just stop it. But it's so addicting, especially to an elderly, lonely person.
That's what happens. Somebody's paying attention to him and talking to him, and even if it's not in a good way, and sometimes, most of them we see these days are the short range. They create a problem right now. Got to fix it right this minute.
Oh, yeah.
The longer range scams, I don't hear about it as often. We
They'd
go on for months.
There are people out there playing chess while some people are playing checkers.
True.
They're sharp. So just turn the phone off. Stop it.
And they use local numbers too.
They
People
do,
say,
right.
"Oh, I saw 601 on my phone, and I'm going to answer that." But like, no, if you and I go back to what you said, have your numbers programmed in your phone. If you don't recognize it, if they leave a voicemail and it's someone reputable, then,
think of it this way: if
yeah.
I'm a real senior, how many days do I have left? Do I really want to spend them talking to these people on the phone? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's go do something with our lives and not do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's go teach somebody to read.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
There you go.
as I
Learn
told
words.
told the concerned child of this person, I said, well, worst case scenario is they spend all their money and you get nothing, and the state takes care of them in their old age. And that's about it. Mornings in Meridian. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay with us. It's Mornings in Meridian. Sheriff Calhoun is in the house.
I say two simple words, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine. This is English. Stop it.
So I should just stop it.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to go through life being scared of being buried alive in a box, do you? I mean, that sounds frightening. Then stop it.
Just stop it. That's right. Just stop it. Mornings in Meridian. We're glad you're out there tuned in. Roger along with Rob. Charles is in the house, and also Sheriff Ward Calhoun.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks for taking time with us this morning here, Sheriff.
Glad to.
We realize there's probably other things that you could probably do instead of come here, but we appreciate it. I think you're doing a great job of letting people know what it's like out there and what kind of educating on the world of law enforcement. Let's take a quick phone call. Whoops, no, we can't. We took a dial tone, though. Let's take another phone call here. Good morning. Welcome to our show. You have a question for the sheriff?
Hey, Rod. Yeah, Rod, that was me that hung up. I figured I was going to go to that recording. But anyway, I was talking about programming phone numbers into people's phones.
Yeah.
I had an elderly friend that could not get it through his head. He was going to lose everything because he was giving money to scammers, and he actually did end up losing everything.
Every last dime. They'll take it.
And they did. And anyway, I couldn't get through his head, so I went into that phone number and wrote in contacts, do not answer. This is a scam. They will take your money. And that worked for a little while. Every time the guy called by that number, it worked. Well, he got another number and got to the guy, so it didn't work for long, but it worked for a little while.
Yeah. That's what they do. They change those numbers all the time. How they get in touch with folks is crazy.
Yeah, it was funny because he kept saying, this is going to take my money, so I don't answer that. And I thought, they got another number.
Yeah.
And, we did everything we could, but, it went on from February to August, I think. It took that long for them to finally get everything.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Appreciate it. And we want to thank those of you that have been going and checking out Barber & Son Plumbing, because if you have a plumbing need, that's where you go. And it's funny when Gary Barber says, I have trained more plumbers in this county than anybody.
Sounds right.
It's like a plumbing school. You go there and he'll teach you how to fix it.
It is the University of Plumbing. It's like the I was going to say it's like the Harvard of plumbing, but no protesting there, so I don't know what you
The Harvard of plumbing.
The Oxford, maybe? I don't think
go.
I'm protesting in Oxford anyway. But yes, it is. Barber & Sons Plumbing, been in business for over 80 years. I think they might know what they're doing at this point. 1123 26th Avenue. You will find every type of plumbing part available there and a wealth of plumbing knowledge as well. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, take a picture of the part, take a picture of the problem, show it to Gary, and boom, lickety-split, he's got that part, and he will give you detailed instructions on how to replace it. Of course, they will also come to your home or business as well. All you got to do is call them, 601-482-7023, and get in touch with Barber & Sons Plumbing, or go see them, 1123 26th Avenue.
Did want to mention real quick, guys, I did get a message from our good buddy Paul Tarver. T-ball registration for Crestwood is going to be wrapping up this week. If you want to bring your little ones by Quality PC of Meridian or Jeffrey Wilson State Farm during business hours, they have registration available there, or they're going to have several nights this week, actually tonight and Thursday, where you can drop the kids by and get registered as well. So just wanted to throw that out there before we got out of here in a few. So.
On a national thing, just want to let people know, Rob, you probably saw this, Riley Gaines.
Yep.
Her book, Swimming Against the Current, comes out today.
I want to read it.
Says, fighting for common sense in a world that's lost its mind.
I think she's amazing. I'm definitely going to pick that one up.
And she's on the cover, and she don't look anything like a boy. I'll tell you that right now. Let's take a phone call real quick. We got time for one more before the sheriff gets away. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Yeah, well, Joe, you ought to be ashamed, son.
What?
About that gal like that. But, well, okay, never mind. I was just trying to be over the right.
She just looks good on the cover, is all I'm saying.
There you go. Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Can I take and answer the phone, talk like an old guy, you know what I'm doing, and then put my phone under a stainless steel collar and beat the tar out of it? Is that illegal?
I doubt it.
Okay, good. So I can harass them back. I mean, I'll call them back and say, hey, man, or I tell them stuff like, my account number is BR549, and the password is ID 10 Tango. Have any idea what that means?
Idiot.
Yes, BR549, we all know that's C-Ball.
ID 10, yeah.
Spell out ID 10, yeah, it spells idiot.
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, all right. I just didn't know if we were allowed to harass them harassers back because there's nothing more fun. I wait by the phone some days waiting on it to ring.
Sometimes it's fun just to kind of keep asking the just respond with the word why. I know a lady worked for us that's what she do. They'd ask a question and say why.
The longer you keep them on the line, the more money it costs them.
That's right.
The longer you keep, so just keep them on the line, just talking smack, make them think you're going to give the number and come out with BR549. Hey, good job you're doing there, Sheriff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. It's not me. It's good folks down there working. We got great people.
Yes, sir. You're right. A boss doesn't take the credit for his men's work. Absolutely, you're correct. Oh, let me phrase that: a good boss.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll let you boys go. Y'all stay out of trouble and don't forget, go buy a stainless steel colander. They are the noisiest darn thing to put over a telephone and beat on each other.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. Put the colander over the phone. I like that.
I think Sheriff's has some stats here before we get out of here, I think.
Yeah, we got about a minute and a half. Go ahead.
So y'all asked me about not telephones, my goodness, about cameras.
Yeah.
And we have three different, they actually work together, but three different systems really. We have building. We have a total of 88 cameras at our new building, 48 inside, 36 externally, and then we have interview rooms that have individual cameras and recording capabilities. And then at the detention facility, we have 114. So that's got 21 outside, 93 inside. I mean, those cameras have more than paid for themselves lots of times with allegations that have been made and able to document that.
That explains why as many cameras needed at the police station.
There you go.
Sheriff, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Love being here. Anybody needs anything, y'all know how to find us. Call our business number.
Say goodbye, fellas.
Goodbye.
Bye.